Hi guys, Vanessa Reiser, teletherapist. It's August 18th. I am hosting another video, this time to provide some psychoeducation on healing from trauma, specifically narcissistic abuse. So the abusee sometimes needs to kind of slow down and sort of pay attention to their basic needs. And so that includes sometimes practicing some self-care around alone time. So reading a book, lighting a candle, and sometimes also going for walks, surrounding yourself with true friends, talking to them about your troubles and potentially getting some cheerleaders involved to build you up and remind you of who you are. Sometimes an abusee has a hard time with flashbacks, and that those flashbacks can be of good or bad times, and that can potentially kind of keep them in that spiral, in that psychological space where they're not able to focus and practice that self-love. So some other things you can do to practice self-love include taking a bath, lighting incense, so using the five senses again with dialectical behavioral therapy, include imagery. So you might see yourself in a very safe location. So when I teach my clients about imagery, I usually picture myself in like the woods, kind of with the sound of, depending upon where you live, the birds, frogs, just the silence, the trees. It's a great way to practice self-care. And certainly now with COVID, a lot of us are having to find that time, carve out that time and structure that into our schedules so we can feel even more grounded. So again, DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy, you want to use the five senses to get that emotional regulation. So if you are experiencing trauma, certainly from narcissistic abuse, you want to go to the five senses. Using smell is brilliant. So I like eucalyptus oil. That is a great way for you to get grounded. I used to give out these Christmas scented sticks in my private practice, but I kind of developed an aversion, so not so much anymore. But you can play with different scents, patchouli, even mint. So another one of our five senses would be taste, and there's data that suggests that you chewing mint gum can actually be very grounding. So sound, I like to think of like jazz music, so something very baseline, no lyrics, like sort of do-do-do-do, maybe Benny Goodman, nothing too frantic, nothing too depressing. You have to be careful with sound and music. You don't want to get triggered. So when you're practicing self-love and healing from trauma, you want to get into a space that's very grounded. So those five senses. Touch can also be really important. So if you have a pet and you're blessed to have an animal that you can kind of snuggle with, that will soothe you and get you grounded and get you to a place where you're practicing self-love. You can also ease up on work. Sometimes that is taking a lot of your energy. So you want to make space for yourself. Journaling is brilliant, especially with COVID right now. Try to find some gratitude. So practicing gratitude and journaling about it is a tremendous way to practice self-love, and just remind yourself that you're okay, that you're safe. And that's a brilliant way, really journaling. There's even an app called Dictate. I think you have to pay for it, but you can just kind of run your mouth into the phone and just express yourself, and it will actually just put it onto a document. So also with DBT, you want to practice opposite action. If you're feeling irritable, you want to practice love. So smiling at a stranger. When you have a mask on, it's kind of hard with COVID. So, but sending a loving text to kind of get away from that energy that has you trapped and in that trauma space. So if you're feeling down, you want to practice love. So also getting involved. So if you're feeling down, you want to actually force yourself. It sounds kind of counterintuitive, but you want to kind of force yourself to get going. And again, there's that walk maybe that you take, get up, light a candle, put on some music, and kind of, keep it moving. So just a couple of things I want to kind of suggest. I'm going to give you another, probably like part 2 of this for healing from trauma. Okay, guys, be safe.